I have watched you from the shadows of history, modern prince. I have seen you walk through the courts of your corporations and the piazzas of your digital social circles with a heavy burden. You carry the weight of niceness, a soft, yielding garment that you believe protects you, but in reality, it is a shroud for your ambitions. You have been told that to be good is to be harmless. I am here to tell you that this is a lie that will lead to your ruin. Look around you. The world is not a collection of saints governed by the golden rule. It is a dense forest of competing interests, populated by those who seek to climb over your shoulders while you are busy apologizing for standing in their way. He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation. Your desire to be nice is not a virtue, it is a tactical error. Understand first the distinction between being good and being effective. A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. Therefore, it is necessary for a prince, and you are the prince of your own life, to learn how not to be good, and to use this knowledge and not use it according to the necessity of the case. In your modern courts, those glass office buildings and digital channels, the daggers are no longer made of steel, but of whispered rumors and strategic omissions. If you enter these arenas believing that your colleagues will prioritize your career over theirs simply because you are helpful, you have already lost. The courtier who is always available is never respected. The prince who is always agreeable is seen as a tool, not a leader. You must cultivate a presence that suggests a hidden depth, a capacity for action that others cannot predict. Do not mistake me. I do not advocate for senseless cruelty. Senselessness is the mark of a fool. I advocate for the cold, clear-eyed assessment of reality. You must be a fox to discern the snares and a lion to drive off the wolves. The nice man is neither. He is the sheep that believes if he is soft enough, the wolf will lose interest. The wolf, however, only sees a meal that will not fight back. The fox does not use brute force to open a locked door. He finds the one who holds the key and makes it in that person's interest to unlock it. You must map the power structures of your life. Who holds the real influence? It is rarely the person with the loudest voice or the highest title. It is the person who controls the flow of information. To be the fox is to be the silent observer, the one who knows everyone's price and everyone's fear. There are moments when the fox's cunning is insufficient. There are moments when you must strike with such overwhelming force and clarity that no one dares to question your authority again. This is not about anger. Anger is a weakness. It clouds the judgment. This is about the cruelty well used. If a subordinate or an associate betrays the mission, the strike must be swift and total. To hesitate is to invite further rebellion. You worry about being liked, you seek the warmth of the crowd's approval. But I tell you, it is much safer to be feared than loved if one of the two must be lacking. Love is preserved by the link of obligation, which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails. In the digital age, this fear is rebranded as an unassailable reputation. If people love your personality, they will consume you until you are exhausted, and then they will move on. But if they respect your competence, if they know that your word is law and your standards are absolute, they will remain loyal even when the love fades. You are not building a fan club, you are building an empire. Consider the nature of human gratitude. Men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. As long as you succeed and provide for them, they are yours entirely. They will offer you their blood, property, life, and children when the need is far distant. But when it approaches, they turn against you. If your entire foundation is built on their liking you, your foundation is built on sand. Look at your friendships. How many would stand by you if you lost your status tomorrow? How many would remain if you could no longer offer them a bridge to their own desires? This is not a reason for despair, but for strategy. Do not resent the fickle nature of man. Utilize it. Tie their success so closely to your own that to betray you would be to sabotage themselves. This is the only true loyalty that exists in the realm of power. The nice person avoids conflict, believing that peace is the highest state. But peace is often merely a period of preparation for your enemies. By avoiding a necessary confrontation today, you are only allowing your opponent to grow stronger for the confrontation of tomorrow. A conflict delayed is a conflict lost. You must have the courage to strike when the moment is right, not when it is comfortable. In your personal life, this means setting boundaries with the force of a fortress wall. When someone disrespects your time or your mission and you let it slide to keep the peace, you are training them to disrespect you again. You are teaching the world that your peace is for sale at the cost of your dignity. A prince does not negotiate for his dignity, he demands it as a baseline. It is not necessary to actually possess all the traditional virtues, but it is very necessary to seem to possess them. To those who see you, you should appear all mercy, all faith, all integrity, all humanity, and all religion. But you must be prepared to act against all of these if the winds of fortune change. The mind of a prince must be capable of turning in whatever direction the variation of matters require. In the modern theatre, this is called personal branding. You must project an image of stability and moral fiber, for the masses cannot follow a man they perceive as chaotic. But internally, you must be liquid. You must be able to pivot, to cut losses, and to abandon old alliances the moment they become liabilities. You are the actor and the director of your own play. The audience sees the character, only you know the man behind the mask. You have been taught that honesty is always the best policy. I tell you that a wise lord cannot, nor ought he to, keep faith when such observance may be turned against him. If all men were good, this precept would not be good. But as they are bad, and would not keep faith with you, you are not bound to keep it with them. This is the way of the fox. Transparency is a luxury for those who do not have anything to lose. For the prince, information is the most precious currency. Never reveal your total strength, and never reveal your total weakness. Keep people in a state of uncertainty and wonder. If they know exactly what you will do next, they can plan for you. If you are unpredictable, they must react to you. In power dynamics, the one who reacts is always at a disadvantage. You must also learn to deal with fortune. Fortune is a woman, and if you wish to keep her under, it is necessary to beat and ill-use her. She allows herself to be mastered by the adventurous rather than by those who go to work more coldly. The nice man waits for fortune to smile. The man of virtue seizes fortune by the throat and demands what is his. What is fortune today? It is the algorithm. It is the market crash. It is the sudden technological shift. You cannot control the wind, but you can control the sails. The nice man complains that the wind is unfair. The prince studies the weather patterns and builds a ship that thrives in a storm. Virtue is the ability to turn a disaster into a platform. When the world is in chaos, the man of iron wisdom finds his greatest opportunity. Do not be deceived by the modern cult of vulnerability. While you are opening up and showing your weaknesses, your competitors are taking notes. They are looking for the chink in your armor. Reveal your strengths, hide your intentions, and never let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Silence is the greatest weapon in the arsenal of the powerful. In a world that cannot stop talking, the person who says nothing holds the room. Silence creates a vacuum that others feel compelled to fill with their own secrets. Listen more than you speak. Every word you utter is a potential hostage you have given to the world. Only speak when your words can change the reality of the situation. The path to power is paved with the realization that you are responsible for your own standing. No one is coming to save the nice guy. The world rewards those who understand the mechanics of influence and the necessity of strength. You must cultivate an inner hardness, an iron will that can endure the storms of life without breaking. When you enter a room, do not seek to be the most liked person there. Seek to be the most respected. Seek to be the one whose opinion carries weight because it is backed by action and results. The nice man speaks much and does little. The man of power speaks little and does much. Let your results be your herald. Remember that the end justifies the means. Success washes away the perceived sins of the journey. If you reach the top and provide security, prosperity, and order for those under your care, no one will remember the difficult decisions you made to get there. They will only see the crown. The court of the modern world is louder than the courts of Florence, yet the silence of the wise remains the same. You inhabit a digital panopticon where every movement is tracked, every word is archived, and every error is amplified. You believe that by participating in the collective noise, you are building influence. You are not. You are merely becoming part of the scenery. To lead, you must become the architect of the scenery, not its inhabitant. Consider the nature of the digital principality. Your social standing, your professional network, and your reputation are territories that must be defended with the same vigor as a walled city. The walls today are built of perception. If you allow the rabble to dictate who you are, you have surrendered your sovereignty without a shot being fired. You must understand that in the realm of influence, those who are perceived as harmless are eventually treated as such. To be harmless is to be ignored when the spoils are divided. The modern prince must master the art of controlled presence. You must appear to be accessible while remaining fundamentally elusive. If your peers know everything about your process, your fears, and your next move, they have already conquered you in their minds. Familiarity breeds contempt. It also breeds predictability. A predictable man is a manageable man, and a manageable man is never a leader. You must cultivate a certain mistero, a mystery that compels others to fill the silence with their own anxieties and curiosities. When you do speak, your words must land like a decree, not a suggestion. Let us speak of the cruelty of stagnation. Many men remain in positions of mediocrity because they are afraid to prune the dead branches of their lives. They keep around them friends who have become anchors, employees who have lost their drive, and habits that have turned into chains. They do this because they want to be loyal. But loyalty to that which is failing is not a virtue, it is a suicide pact. A prince must know when an alliance has reached its expiration. He must be able to sever ties with a clean stroke, not out of malice, but out of the necessity for growth. If you do not have the stomach to leave behind those who cannot keep pace, you will eventually find yourself standing alone in a graveyard of your own making. The fox in the modern era is the master of data and psychology. You must understand the biases of the human mind better than the psychologists themselves. People do not act out of logic. They act out of a mixture of ego, fear, and desire. To move a man, you must find his leverage point. For some, it is the desire for status. For others, it is the fear of exclusion. Once you identify the lever, you do not need to push him. You simply need to tilt the ground beneath him. This is the effectual truth of human interaction. The nice person tries to convince people with reason. The prince moves people through their own self-interest. The lion today is the one who possesses the courage of finality. We live in an age of endless deliberation, of meetings about meetings, and of paralyzed bureaucracy. The lion is the one who walks into the room and makes the decision that everyone else is too terrified to make. He takes the risk, he assumes the responsibility, and he reaps the reward. By being the one who ends the uncertainty, you naturally gravitate toward the center of power. People crave order. In the absence of a clear leader, they will follow the person who acts with the most certainty, even if that certainty is a mask. You must also learn the strategy of the gift. In my time, a prince would commission a cathedral to buy the favor of the people. Today, you offer value, content, advice, connections, but you must do so strategically. Never give a gift that does not create a debt of gratitude. If you give too much for free, you are perceived as a servant. If you give specifically and strategically, you are perceived as a patron. A patron is respected, a servant is used. Ensure that every good deed you perform is documented in the ledger of social obligation. You do not need to call the debt immediately, but you must know that it is there. Consider the theater of outrage. In your world, the masses are easily whipped into a frenzy by the slightest perceived slight. The nice man lives in constant fear of being cancelled or criticized. He walks on eggshells, which only makes him look weak and hesitant. The prince, however, knows that outrage is a storm that eventually blows over. He does not apologize unless the apology itself is a strategic tool to gain more power. An apology offered out of fear is a scent of blood to the wolves. An apology offered as a calculated move to shift the narrative is a masterstroke of the fox. Learn the difference. Observe the dynamics of the inner circle. A leader is only as strong as the lieutenants he chooses. If you surround yourself with yes men who only mirror your own opinions, you are building a house of mirrors that will shatter at the first touch of reality. You need people who are competent, but you must never let them become more popular than you. You must keep them in a state of competitive loyalty, where their rewards are high, but their tenure depends entirely on your continued success. If a lieutenant becomes too powerful, he is no longer an asset. He is a rival, and a rival must be neutralized before he has the chance to strike. The iron wisdom of Machiavelli is not a license for chaos, but a blueprint for order. A state, or a life, that is governed by the shifting whims of niceness is a state that will inevitably fall into disorder. Order requires a firm hand. It requires the willingness to make the hard choice for the greater good of the mission. You are the sovereign of your own destiny. If your principality is in shambles, if your health is failing, your finances are weak, and your mind is clouded, it is because you have been too nice to yourself. You have allowed your lower impulses to dictate your actions. You have been a weak prince. To regain your throne, you must declare war on your own weaknesses. You must treat your distractions as insurgents and your excuses as traitors. You must implement a draconian discipline within your own mind. Only when you have conquered yourself can you hope to conquer the world around you. The man who cannot control his own tongue, his own appetite, and his own time is a man who is destined to be a subject, never a ruler. Look at the history of the greats. They were not nice, they were grand. there is a massive difference. Grandeur commands a space. Niceness merely occupies it. Grandeur is built on a foundation of virtù, that explosive combination of talent, timing, and the will to power. You have the potential for this virtù within you, but it is buried under layers of social conditioning that tell you to fit in and not make waves. I tell you, make the waves. Be the storm. If you are not upsetting someone, you are likely not doing anything of importance. The world is a marketplace of perceptions. If you walk through it with your head down, hoping not to be noticed, you will be stepped upon. If you walk through it with the bearing of a conqueror, people will naturally move out of your way. This is not arrogance, it is signaling. You are signaling your value and your strength. In the absence of hard data, people rely on signals. Make sure yours are loud and clear. Never forget the law of scarcity. That which is abundant is cheap. That which is rare is expensive. If you are always available, always talking, and always nice, your value plummets. You become a commodity. To be a prince, you must be a luxury. Your time must be difficult to obtain. Your approval must be a prize. Your presence must be an event. By withdrawing yourself from the common market, you increase your power exponentially. Finally, understand the legacy of the bold. History does not remember the man who was pretty good or generally liked. It remembers the man who changed the map. It remembers the man who stood against the tide and forced it to turn. You have one life to carve your name into the stone of time. Will you spend it trying to avoid offending people who will forget your name the moment you die? Or will you embrace the iron wisdom of the prince and build something that lasts? The shadows of the past are not here to haunt you. They are here to guide you. They whisper the secrets of the court, the field, and the mind. Listen to them. Shed the skin of the commoner and don the armor of the sovereign. The world is waiting for a leader who is not afraid to lead. The world is waiting for the lion who can outthink the fox. The transition is painful. It requires the death of the person you were told to be. But on the other side of that death is the birth of the prince. Stand tall. Look the world in the eye. Do not blink. Do not apologize for your existence. Your ambition is your compass. Your discipline is your shield. Your intelligence is your sword. To truly master the world, you must first master the geography of your own spirit. A prince who does not know the terrain of his own heart is like a captain who sails without a compass. He may have a sturdy ship and a brave crew, but he will eventually be broken upon the rocks of his own hidden impulses. You have been taught to look outward for your enemies, but the most dangerous conspirators are the ones who reside within the silent chambers of your own mind. The procrastination that whispers of tomorrow, the vanity that seeks immediate praise, and the fear that masquerades as prudence. You must treat these internal rebels with the same cruelty well used that you would apply to a traitor in your court. Do not negotiate with your laziness. Do not offer a truce to your self-doubt. These are not parts of you to be nurtured. They are insurgents to be suppressed. Consider the doctrine of strategic isolation. In your modern era, you are encouraged to be connected at all hours, to be part of a perpetual, buzzing hive of information and opinion. But I tell you that a prince who is never alone is a prince who is never in command. True strategy is born in the silence of the cabinet, not the noise of the piazza. You must create fortresses of solitude in your schedule where no one can reach you, no digital tether, no pleading voice, no trivial demand. It is in these moments of isolation that you analyze the board, anticipate the moves of your rivals, and sharpen the edge of your intent. The world fears a man who can be silent and alone. for it knows that such a man is thinking, and a man who thinks is a man who plans. Let us speak of the myth of the level playing field. You have been raised with the illusion that the world is a meritocracy, where the best man wins by default. This is a comforting fable designed to keep the subjects industrious. The reality is that the playing field is a labyrinth of hidden trapdoors, secret passages, and rigged scales. The prince does not complain that the game is unfair. He studies the rigging so that he may use it to his advantage. If you find yourself in a position where the rules are designed for your failure, you do not simply try harder, you change the rules, or you play a different game entirely. Virtue is the ability to adapt to the terrain, even if the terrain is hostile. If you cannot win as a soldier, win as a diplomat. If you cannot win as a diplomat, win as a phantom. Observe the currency of attention. In the courts of old, power was measured in land and gold. Today, it is measured in the eyes of the masses. Every person who looks at you, every mind that considers your message, is a territory you have occupied. But be wary. Attention is a volatile resource. If you gain it through buffoonery or niceness, you are merely a court jester, and the moment a more entertaining fool appears, you will be cast aside. You must seek the kind of attention that carries weight, the heavy, focused gaze of those who recognize power. This is achieved through the aesthetics of excellence. Whatever you produce, whatever you say, must have a finish of such high quality that it demands respect. It is better to be seen once as a master than 1,000 times as a mediocre amateur. Understand the necessity of the mask. You live in a time that worships authenticity, urging you to be yourself at all costs. This is the most dangerous advice ever given to a man of ambition. Being yourself is for children and the dying. A prince is a work of art, a constructed identity designed for a specific purpose. Your public self should be a carefully curated selection of traits that serve your mission. If you are angry, let it be a calculated anger used to achieve a result, not a spontaneous eruption of your authentic self. If you are merciful, let it be a strategic mercy that builds an obligation. Your true self, the vulnerable, uncertain, and raw core, is for you alone, or perhaps for a single confidant who has earned your total trust. To show it to the world is to hand your enemies a map of your vulnerabilities. Consider the cycle of the new prince. Every time you enter a new field, a new job, or a new social circle, you are a new prince in a conquered territory. The people there will watch you with a mixture of hope and hostility. They are looking for a sign of weakness. In this initial period, you must be extraordinarily ordinary. Do not attempt to change everything on the first day. That only creates a unified front of resistance. Instead, observe, identify the key holders, the people whose influence is not written in their titles, but in their relationships. Win them over with subtle appeals to their ego. Then, once your foundation is secure, you strike. You remove the obstacles. You implement your order, and you do it with such speed that the opposition has no time to organize. A change that is slow and agonizing is hated. A change that is swift and total is eventually accepted as the new reality. Let us discuss the grandeur of discipline. Most men are slaves to their moods. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel tired, they rest. This is the path of the commoner. The prince knows that moods are like the weather, unreliable and external to the mission. Your discipline must be iron, a cold structure that holds you upright when your spirit wants to sag. You do not work because you feel like it. You work because it is the requirement of your station. This internal order is what allows you to project external power. When people see a man who cannot be moved by his own comfort, they realize they cannot move him with their threats or their bribes. You become an immovable object in a world of shifting sand. Observe the nature of modern alliances. In the digital court, alliances are often shallow and transactional. Do not mistake a follower for a friend or a partner for a loyalist. Everyone is the protagonist of their own story, and in their story, you are either a supporting character or an obstacle. To maintain an alliance, you must ensure that your partner's self-interest is always tied to your success. The moment it becomes more profitable for them to betray you than to serve you, they will betray you, and they will find a moral justification for it. Do not be bitter about this. It is the human condition. Instead, be prepared. Always have a contingency of power, a way to succeed even if your closest ally turns against you. The fox also knows the power of reframing. In my time, I reframed the brutal actions of Cesare Borgia as a necessary step toward the unification of Italy. Today, you must be the master of your own narrative. If you fail, it is not a defeat, it is a strategic reconnaissance. If you are ruthless, it is not cruelty, it is decisive leadership. The words you choose to describe your actions will become the reality that others accept. He who controls the dictionary controls the court. Do not let your critics define your actions. Speak first, speak loudest, and speak with the most conviction. The nice man waits for others to validate him. The prince validates himself and waits for the world to catch up. Remember the law of the lion's shadow. A leader does not need to be present everywhere to exert influence. His shadow, the reputation he has built, the systems he has put in place, and the fear of his reaction should do the work for him. If you have to micromanage every detail of your life and your business, you are not a prince, you are a supervisor. True power is the ability to walk away from the room and know that your will is still being executed. This is achieved by creating incentive structures that reward those who follow your vision and punish those who deviate from it, even in your absence. Your goal is to become an institution, not just an individual. Finally, we must speak of legacy and the long game. The modern world is obsessed with the now. The next post, the next paycheck, the next trend. The prince looks at the century. He asks himself, what will remain of my work when the digital dust settles? This long-term perspective is your greatest advantage. While your rivals are chasing short-term dopamine and quick wins, you are building a monument. This may mean sacrificing immediate popularity for long-term respect. It may mean taking a loss today to secure a kingdom tomorrow. Fortune may be a fickle woman, but she has a lingering respect for those who refuse to be distracted by her smaller charms in favor of her grandest prizes. You are at a crossroads, modern prince. One path leads back to the comfortable, crowded piazza of niceness, where you will be liked, used, and eventually forgotten. The other path leads to the lonely, wind-swept heights of iron wisdom, where you will be challenged, feared, and immortalized. The climb is steep and the air is thin, but the view is unlike anything the people below can even imagine. You have the map, you have the armor, you have the will. Do not look back. The shadows of the greats are walking beside you, and the effectual truth is your only guide. Be the lion, be the fox, be the prince. The world is yours to shape, or yours to be shaped by. Choose the hammer, not the anvil.